Yeah, yeah. Sorry, what market are you in as well for people who don't know?
So we own properties throughout Texas, Oklahoma, just entered the Georgia market in Augusta, um, looking heavy into Florida now. We have some properties in South Dakota and open to other areas. I mean, we're pretty open to go to where the deal's at, and as long as it's a landlord friendly state and uh, the city makes sense. We look at it and we run the numbers, and if there's population growth and uh, economy has got some good drivers, then we'll go for it.
The everything made sense until you said South Dakota. I don't hear many people investing in South Dakota. How did you guys end up there?
That was closed on those towards the end of last year, and it was just we started seeing how the markets performed through COVID,
Yeah.
and South Dakota stood out like crazy. I don't know if it's because they didn't shut much down or what, but it is a very business friendly state as well. So we bought some good cash flowing properties there, and it's a little bit of a longer term play on those, but they're doing great so far.
Yeah, but what I didn't realize you were in so many markets, to be honest, and that's cool that you are. But one of a big strength that you have, right, and an unfair advantage that you have is that construction background, and you have your own construction team. I believe you're based in Texas, right? Am I correct?
Correct, out of
Yeah,
Dallas.
yeah,
Dallas.
no, yeah. So that construction team is huge, right? But as you're expanding, I'm guessing you're not expanding your team. You're hiring different construction teams in different markets, right? Or so how are you? Is there a way that you're able to use that unfair advantage in other markets, or is it just that experience and that knowledge that you're able to use?
No, we're able to use our team and crews as well. So we have traveling project managers, we have traveling crews. Our crews right now are in Augusta, Georgia, and they live in Houston, but they're in Augusta, Georgia. Um, Usually they'll stay in a unit, or we'll get an Airbnb or something. Um, we find that it works great. I mean, the crews are there and they're there versus a local crew. When they get there, they're there to work, man. They don't mess around. They're quick. Um, and then project management wise and site supervision depends on, we're doing a lot of stuff in Houston. So now I've got a full-time staff in Houston. So if it makes sense, we'll also kind of create a branch office within that market.
That's so interesting. So you find it's better to have a crew that you can rely on, trust on, that knows what they're doing. Do you fly them? Do they drive? Like, how do they get to these different markets? This is really interesting.
Most of the time they'll drive.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have a vehicle, and yeah.
And the reason that is, you know what these people, how they work, how much you're going to charge, what kind of work they're going to do. They know what is expected of them, rather than trying to build a new team, work with new contractors, and sort of work through that initial process.
Yep.
That's interesting. How do you feel as an investor and a contractor at the same time? How do you feel about the reputation that a lot of contractors get? And I'm sure, for sure, you're not one of them, right? But one of the contractors that get a bad reputation. But do you feel frustrated sometimes, or do you feel it's justified a lot of times?
I don't get frustrated. I mean, to me, it honestly, it helps me because I know we don't do what they do that hurts them. They're not trustworthy. They don't show up. They run off with your money. I mean, I experienced it myself. I was an investor first, and I got fed up with that, and that's when I started the construction company. So if anything, it makes us stand out. We come in and we deliver and we say what we're going to do. Our clients, unfortunately, are surprised, but it helps.
Yeah. You use it to your advantage, I'm sure. How many? You said you're at 2,500 units now, right? So, how many years did it take you? I think you said that, right? In the management, 2,500 units.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to go from that first 37 units to now having 2,500 in the management and another 1,000 in the contract?
Say since we actually closed on that 37, I think it's been maybe 3 years or so. We're getting close to 3 years.
That's some rapid growth, right? I thought it was pretty quick. That's some rapid growth. What do you attach something to that success, to that rapid growth? Is there something in particular that has led to that, you think?
Man, I think it's been able to focus. Once I decided that this is what I was going to do and this is the space I wanted to be in, I went 110% into it and just really focused. I stopped doing anything to do with single family and just started building my team and everything around, hey, we're going to build this massive portfolio and this is what we're doing. And we kind of just put our heads down and went at it.
Yeah, very cool. And you mentioned a few times your team. Do you have partners? Or I'm guessing you have probably some partners on the GP side, or is it just all you running everything?
No, one partner on the investing side, Eric, and then we've got a team there. We've got somebody that helps us with marketing and investor relations, and we continue to add seats to that team. And then on the construction side, I mean, I've got pretty big team on that side.
Yeah, I'm sure you have, especially you need a lot of guys with that, right? With the amount of projects you guys have going. Obviously you're in the middle of, right? You're in the thick of everything, right? If you've got 1,000 deals under contract right now, you're in the thick of everything. What are some trends that you are seeing that have just maybe coming up in the last few months that are kind of changing with multifamily that people might not be aware of, that might not have sort of seen, or is it kind of the same as it was, is just more competitive, maybe?
I mentioned the above whisper price.
Yeah.
That's pretty new and more competitive for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just getting more competitive. That's really what's happening right now. And everybody's thinking there's going to be this wave of assets that are in trouble and there's going to be discounts. I don't know if that's coming. I really don't know if that's coming. I think multifamily's done a decent job of fighting through the pandemic that we had and proving that it's one of the best industries in real estate. So I think it's just going to get more and more competitive. I think there's going to be more capital poured into multifamily. So just trying to figure out how to adjust and continue to take down deals without overpaying for things.
Yeah, and I agree. There's so much competition now. It's hard to see where any slowdown would come from, right? Because there's so much competition right now. It's just kind of crazy, and it's hard to see that going away anywhere anytime soon, I think.
Yep, I agree.
Well, cool, man. Well, as this show is called Wrestling with Real Estate, I like to incorporate some wrestling-related real estate questions. And the first one is, what would your wrestling name be? But do you want to give people a little bit of a backstory before we kind of dive into this, actually? So that, because you're going to be really good at this part. So
I can. So I've been really excited to do this podcast because I wrestled back in the day as well, a little bit. During college, my fraternity used to put on a philanthropy. It was the SIGEP Wrestling Federation, and every semester we would take the ballroom at the university, and man, we would have like 300 to 400 people show up, and we all had characters. And so I was George Fury. That was my wrestling name. And yeah, I think I would stick with that name.
Okay, so yeah, the first question I always ask is, what would your wrestling name be? So you're going to go with George Fury. I like that. George Fury, cool. Every wrestler, as you well know, has a special move, right? What is your special move in real estate, you think?
I think my special move is kind of just being able to structure these deals. They really do take a team effort to take down, and I've done a really good job of networking and just being able to put everybody in the right place depending on the deal and being able to structure it so that it can get to the finish line.
Yeah, very cool. What's been the biggest body slam you've taken in your real estate career?
Biggest body slam. That's a good one. I think right before I started doing the multifamily, and just when I was really motivated to scale the single family, and I just got a little burned out. It was. I don't know if I hadn't tilted over to multifamily. I'm not sure what I would be doing right now. I wasn't liking where I was at. Didn't have much time to do anything, and just glad I made the change and focused on multifamily.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too, man. And you're killing it, obviously now. So was there a moment that you were standing on the top rope, getting ready to jump, but you were too scared? What was it, and how did you overcome it?
And it's probably, quitting my job. I had 5 years of studying to be an engineer, electrical engineer, had a pretty good job. And then I had the real estate investing on the side. And that was I finally got to the point where I felt like, okay, well, me being at work and at this job, I'm actually losing money. And I had to make that jump. I had to say, okay, I'm quitting, I'm doing it. And that was a big decision.
What do you say to people? Do people ask you, now, should I quit my job? Do you have advice for people when they ask you that question?
No, I would say force your side hustle. Let's say if it's real estate, right?
Yeah.
Force it to make you quit. Don't just go cold turkey and and quit right away, especially if it's multifamily. Multifamily takes a while to gain that traction and to start getting deals done and to start making money. So, I wouldn't want anybody to watch this and hear me and think, oh, I just need to quit and focus on multifamily and everything will come together. Not necessarily, focus on it and make it grow to the point where you're losing money because you're at work or doing your W-2 or whatever it is.
Oh, that's great advice. Yeah, get it to the point where you have no choice but to quit at that point, right? Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Well, man, this has been fun. I really appreciate you taking the time. Like I said, you're a crazy busy guy, but this was a fun interview. But before we go, if people want to reach out and get in touch with you, or if they want to find out more about what you've got going on, how can they do so?
Yeah, we put a ton of information on our website. So if they go to elevatecig.com, or if they search me on any platform, pretty much Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't put a lot on TikTok, but Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. They search my name, they should be able to find me. And they can also shoot me an email if they'd like. George or Jorge is actually the way it's spelled, but I usually go by George, JORGE at elevatecig.com.
Well, cool. Well, I'll include all that in the show notes. Thank you so much, man, and have an awesome rest of your day out there.
Thank you, man. It's been fun.